Hello fellow crafters, it's Terry. Welcome back to my channel. If you are a regular subscriber of mine and have been watching my craft room reorganisation series, you'll probably have been eagerly awaiting the next instalment. If you've stumbled across this video, this is part 3 of 5 in my craft room complete reorganisation series. So I'll put a playlist at the end with the first 2 videos, which are the first one I did a complete tour, an honest real tour of what my craft space actually looks like before I started reorganising. So basically my stash had outgrown my storage systems that I had in place. The second video I completely reorganised my stamp storage system and also got rid of some of my stamps, and then there are 3 more videos to come. So with this one, the third one, this is going to be focusing on 10 things that I have reorganised in my craft room, which should give you some real tips, some real tangible tips about organisational strategies that I've found, and particular products as well that I've found. Obviously you don't have to buy those particular ones, but you might have something similar, or you might be able to see and pick up something similar. So hopefully you'll feel inspired by a number of the 10 things that I'm going to share with you. The next video after this is going to be a biggie. That's going to be a die storage reorganisation video, and I have a heck of a lot of dies, I really do. And then the last video in the series is going to be a proper, sort of more traditional craft room tour of me once I've been settled in my craft room for several weeks with the new organisation, and to share with you how that's been working. So let's dive in, and I will start with tip 1. Okay my friends, so number 1 is ink pad storage. So what you can see in front of you is 2 different sets of ink pad storage. So they're both wooden, and one houses all of my Distress Oxide inks and my regular Distress Oxides. It also houses my most often used black inks, and then I've got some spares there as well, and also some re-inkers and a white pigment ink pad. So these units you can purchase from Amazon. So I'll put the link to the UK Amazon site in the description box, and I'll also try and find them on the US site as well, because I think that's the 2 main Amazon sites. I'm not sure if every country has got one, but I'll put whatever links I can in the description box for you, and that goes for everything else in the tour as well. So this storage unit is designed, there's this one and then there's one that's slightly different, because this one is large enough to hold the larger ink pads. So it holds the longer ink pads like the Memento and the VersaFine. You can actually push the Distress inks and Oxide ink pads to the back if you want, but I just have them forward. But they do actually sell one that's just for the Distress Oxides and inks, which is a bit narrower, but I've got the one that works for both. And then the one on the left, that's actually 2 stacked on top of each other, which is the same as the one on the right. That I got from eBay, which again I will link to the seller, and they are perfect for storing your small ink cubes. I'll take one of the trays out. So this is some of the Ultinu ink pads. So all of the smaller ink cubes tend to be of the same sort of size. So these are Ultinu. Down here, this is a good one to show you. So I've got some mini Distress inks, I've got some Hero Arts ones, and the Nuvo ones as well fit in here perfectly, as do the mini VersaFine ones. And they come with these little slots, little dividers in them, which you just slot in. So if you use the dividers, it keeps the small ink pads perfectly in place and gives you that little bit of space there in between. But if you don't use the dividers, you can actually fit larger ink pads in there, which was quite useful for me because I had a few, such as the little Dewdrop Versamark inks, and also a few of the larger Spectrum Noir that I didn't have room for in here. So this has worked out a really good storage system for me. And then this top shelf, so again you always get outliers. So the Hunky Dory, the prism ones, they are bigger than the small ones. So what I've done here is I've used the dividers in the centre to section it off, but you can fit 6 into each half. So I've managed to store them as well, because originally I only bought one of these because I thought that would be enough for all my mini ink cubes, but I then got another one. It's quite inexpensive, it's only £12.50 including delivery. But yeah, so that's my ink storage solution and I'm really pleased with that. It's like, I know I haven't labelled them, but I know where everything is. It's like I know my black inks are the bottom right, and I know that these are the colours. I've arranged them in my sort of favourite colour palette. So we've got aquas and blues and greens and purples, then we've got pinks and reds, and then down here we've got like browns, like walnut stain and whatnot. Up here we've got yellows, peaches, going orange, going into red. It's easy enough for me just to pull out and see what I've got. I haven't actually got that many full-size distress ink pads because I actually prefer the minis. So that is the first one, the ink pad storage. So hopefully that's given you some tips. So we'll now move on to the next one. So the next 2 of the 10 items is the wooden desk storage unit. You can see there. So if I angle the camera down slightly, you can see that this is my work desk and this is my crafting table. So we won't look underneath because it's messy, but that is my crafting table. So I have my camera mount there, and that's where I film all my videos. So this, I did used to have a storage unit which was a totally Tiffany one, and it did serve me well for a while, but I was just finding that it had a large pocket at the back, and I was finding that I was just shoving stuff in there, especially like new stamp and die sets that I wanted to use before I then put them away. And things were getting lost and I was just forgetting what was in there. So both of these, so that wooden unit there and also the spinning unit next to it, which is the third item, I got them both from Amazon, and again they were quite inexpensive, the 2 of them. So the wooden one, it's got a big space on the right hand side which is large enough to store A4, and well, slightly larger than A4 actually, because if you can see on the right, that pouch there, which is a Tonic Studios pouch, stores A4 cardstock and paper, and that's where I'm storing all my paper scraps, and that doesn't fit in a regular like A4 box, so it is actually really quite large. And then it's got the 3 little shelves there. So I've got my gratitude journal on the bottom, my Tim Holtz fussy cutting scissors and my Heffy tape on the middle shelf, and on the top shelf I've got my flash drive and my little Sam Calcott desk hoover. And then it's got 2 like pots at the back. I'll bring you closer so you can see it better. It's got 2 pots there. So on the right hand one I keep all of my Derwent Colour Soft coloured pencils, and on the left is often used pens. So that's things like fine liners, Sharpies, my pencil, the one that my Parker pencil, the one that you have to add lead into, or not lead, but you know, pencil lead, pick up tools, glitter gloss pens, jelly roll pens in the commonly used colours, etc. And then it's also got a little drawer here. So this is the large area that I mentioned. So I've got some sticky labels, I've got a ruler, a couple of craft magazines, some sandpaper. This is the large pack of white card scraps. I frequently need white card scraps. I do really like to add dimension to my projects, so I'll often like if I've die cut something out, I'll add like 2 or 3 extra die cuts behind it. So this is perfect. So anything that I've cut out, even if it's been written on, it's fine for the purposes of just using to back those die cuts. And then here is my amazing find, which I am so happy with. So this is actually a makeup organizer. So again, I'll link it in the description box below, but it's perfect for me. It holds all of my often used tools. So on the top we've got, like, that's a rubber and a sharpener. That's my personalised Veegstez Create stamp. That is my little stamping buddy. Then turning that round, I've got all of my oxide ink brushes and dye ink brushes here. Below there is a mug. That's the it's quite sentimental really. That's the mug that my now husband bought me when we first started dating, so that when I went round to his house I would have my own cup. So that's got sentimental value. And I store some pre-made sentiment strips, and then just strips that I think will be useful for sentiment, so black card, white card, craft card, etc. Then moving around, we've got 2 sections which are different glues, and then the bottom one's got glue, those glue roly things, and foam tape and different types of score tape. And then we've got some shimmer sprays here. And then I've got my Nouveau Dream Drops here. I store all the rest of my Nouveau drops in quite a large box because I do have quite a few of them. But this bottom one is probably one of my most often used little pots. These are my tweezers that I use for everything. I've got craft knives, other tweezers. These are my scissors that I use for when I need to cut messy things, so they're all gunked up, so I need to like de-gunk them. And they're in a lovely little pot, because I like to reuse things and repurpose things, and that was like a really nice little pot of some specialty chocolate truffles that my mum got for me for Christmas. So I've repurposed that. So that is items 2 and 3. So number 4 on my list of 10 things that I have reorganised is my cardstock and paper. So I haven't actually had to do too much in regards to this. If you've been following along with this series and you saw my first video, you'll know that I was already quite happy with that large tower of 9-litre plastic boxes. You can get ones with bigger lids as well, so you can actually store cardstock and paper to a higher height than the ones that have just got the flat lids. They're all labelled, so I'll bring you closer so you can see. So the top one here is A4 Craft Perfect, and then just down here, second from the bottom, is a box with Paper Mill Direct on it. So I'm on the design team for Paper Mill Direct. If you haven't heard of them, they're a fantastic cardstock company based in the UK. and they have really good quality cardstock and a massive variety. So I'm really blessed to be on their design team, so I get sent lots of lovely cardstock. Right on top of the pile is my scraps. So here there's a little box, the brown one, that's a box of new card that they have released, that they've sent me. The little tonic storage pouch, which I find really useful, and an old tonic craft kit box that I use to store my paper mill direct scraps. So I keep those obviously separate from my regular card scraps. Talking about scraps, I reorganised my scraps. So I used to have two of those white boxes there, absolutely overflowing with card and paper scraps. So white card, patterned card, coloured card and paper all mixed together, and I rarely used it, and it was just a right old mess. So basically I went through it all and decided to I had two more of the tonic A4 pouches, so I decided to split it up into white, which is what I've already shown you on my desk, and also the rest of sort of coloured and patterned card and paper. So I actually purged a lot, so all of the little tiny scraps, I just got rid of them. Number 5 on my list is collections. So if you look down here to the right of the tower, you'll see there's a stack of 12 by 12 really useful boxes. So the top two are Craft Consortium collections. So I really like products from Craft Consortium. I find some of their paper collections absolutely stunning, and their stamps and things. So I think I've actually got 4 collections. I think a couple of them are complete and a couple of them are just a sort of bits and pieces, but they're stored there. And the box below that is tonic craft kits. The ones that I have left over I store in that 12 by 12 box. Below that is 12 by 12 Craft Perfect, so the same as is in the A4 container, but this is 12 by 12. And then underneath are 2 containers of 12 by 12 patterned paper pads. So that is all of my card and paper storage. So number 6 is my colouring mediums. So I've got this gorgeous little mint coloured roly trolley from Hobbycraft, and this is where I store my most used colouring mediums. So if you're a regular to my channel, you'll know that I really love colouring, and therefore I have a lot of colouring mediums. So the bottom shelf there is all of my Copic markers. The middle shelf is Ultra Artist markers, Nuvo alcohol markers, Zig clean colour real brush pens, and Nuvo glitter marker pens. So the top compartment, you're able to purchase one of these little wooden trays. They come in different colours, but I chose the natural wood one. It's really nice quality. And you can also buy these little hanging pots for just £2. So what I've got here, in here there are, I've got some coloured fine liners. I've got my Nuvo alcohol marker swatch wheel. I've got some information from the Tombow blended lettering set that I had. I've got a little Nuvo notebook, and this is what I use, which is a really handy tip if you're into colouring with alcohol markers. I write down colour combinations that I really like. So for example, I've got grey shoes / buttons / belt, WG 3, 5 and 7, so warm grey 3, 5 and 7. So that's something I've recently started doing, and I found it really helpful. It's like for hair, I've got blonde and brown so far, but every time I find a new colour combination that I like, I just add it in. Also in here I've got Arteza watercolour brush pens. I've got an Ultinu metallic watercolour pan set. I treated myself when it was 50% off to a Rembrandt watercolour box set, so the very expensive one, which wasn't very expensive because I am very thrifty. I've got my Prismacolor pencil crayons. Well, I keep calling them pencil crayons, coloured pencils. I've got a few sets of the Gansai Tambi, the starry colours, which I use all the time, opal colours, which all look white here, but they're not. They've all got a subtle shimmer, and they're great on dark cardstock, and some jewel tone ones as well. I've also got some Arteza watercolour pencils, coloured pencils, and I've got my polychromos, which I won't get out because they're right at the bottom, but I've also got the Fintech Calero Magical Creatures pearl colours, and I absolutely love this set. They change colour depending on whether you're using them on white or black cardstock. They're like magic, they're amazing. So that's everything that's in there. And then also, obviously, because I've got the two little pots on the side, that gives me a bit more storage room. So I've dug these out of a drawer because I've had them ages and I haven't used them. They're the Distress crayons from Tim Holtz. I just need to do a bit of research and figure out how to use them and have a play, because they're meant to be really good, and I've got them in a bundle of stuff, but I haven't used them yet. I've got in terms of Copic markers, I've got the complete set of Copic Chow, which is the cheaper ones, and then the Copic Sketch, these ones, they're the same ink, but the pen's a different shape and they hold a bit more ink, but essentially they're double the price. So to get all of the colours, it's pretty much £3,000. I think it's about £2,700, and like no way was I ever going to be able to afford that. So I invested in the Copic Chows in stages, because there's 3 sets, two 72s and a 36 I think, and I got them when they were on sale. But what I've been doing, I'm going to do a separate video on this because this is absolutely a game changer. I can't take credit for this because it was Kathy Zielski. It was her video that inspired me to do this, but this is my Copic swatch book. So I've just got this like big paper clip that I had lying around, but you could use like a bookbinding ring or anything like that. And it's all of my colours. So I can look on there and decide which colours would go together. And so what I'm doing is I'm finding that where I've got gaps, or I'm thinking, oh, it's really difficult to find a blend, like I haven't got many violets. So it's like, or pinks, I wasn't quite happy with the pinks, the RVs, there's not many of them. So I'm padding out my collection slowly. So there was a deal on with a company recently. If you bought 3 pens, you get a Copic ink refill, and the reason I actually went on the website in the first place was to look for a colourless blender refill, because mine has dried up because I use it all the time. So I bought 3 RV colours and 3 BG colours because they're my favourites, and I got 2 colourless blender refills because I figured they're going to be the ones that are going to be most useful to me. But let me know if you would like to see how I've done this. And I was also thinking of maybe doing a sort of swatch with me, so like you don't think it's like, so instead of it being such like a daunting thing, like, oh, I've got to sit there and like colour out all my things, we could do it together. I thought that might be a really nice thing either to do as a Facebook Live, or if I sort of do it as a premiere, so it's pre-recorded but I'll watch it with you, so you can sort of work along with me and I can interact with you in the comments, because I can't do YouTube lives yet until I get 500 subscribers. And at the time this video will be live. I haven't quite got 500 subscribers, although I am very close. So, oh, and in this other pocket, I've got some watercolour inks, and yeah, they're all watercolour inks, so I've just put them there. So this is a fantastic way to store my colouring mediums. I really like it. And also you can buy these add-ons, so like these this shelf unit and this, it's all add-ons. So these are all my Paper Mill Direct samples. So when I'm using some card and I need to reference which one it is, I can just look through and go, oh, okay, I've used this card. So they're on there, but they might move somewhere else in the future because I haven't done this for all of my materials, and ultimately that's what I want to do. So this will eventually be full up of, you know, all my Altenew colours, all my zig colours, although I have got my zigs in a swatch book, but I think I like the idea of having them on rings and like that to hand. It works really well. So because I am such a lover of colouring mediums, not everything fits in that little roly trolley. So we're now looking at one of my shelf units, which does look messy, but it is a work in progress. So you can see that there's one shelf that has lots of pens on it and a little sloth, and is labelled colouring materials. So I'll bring you a bit closer so we can have a look at that. So on here, the big canvas bag to the left is the entire collection of the Ohuhu alcohol markers, so brush tip and chisel tip. So I had heard that Ohuhu markers were really good, and they were a really good deal, so I bought them and I have used them a bit. I want to play with them more, but I'm not too keen on the numbering system. It doesn't make any sense, but again, swatching them, I have swatched them all out, and you can choose from your swatches, again, which is another reason why I highly advocate swatching. The little white box with the clear lid is my Spectrum Noir Illustrator markers and tri-blend markers, and then the little black zippy file on top of that is the overflow from that. Before I committed to Copics, I was regularly like using the Spectrum Noir Illustrator markers, and I still love them. I still think they're great. It's just that like it takes quite a bit of time to get used to using Copics, and like I've been doing that for a while now, so I sort of need to stick with that for a bit longer. And then, you know, it's just nice to play with different things sometimes. And then I've got the rest of my colouring materials here. So behind the sloth, we've got a box of gel pens from Castle Arts in all different colours. In the little mug next to the sloth, we've got brush marker pens. And in the larger mug, we've got, that's all of my Tombow markers. So I've got quite a few Tombows. And then, yeah, so I've got quite a few Tombows. And then here we've got, these are my Derwent Colour Soft Metallics coloured pencils. These are the Nuvo watercolour pencils, and just in case you didn't know, it might seem obvious, but in case you didn't know, you can just use watercolour pencils as regular coloured pencils. So that's why I invested in them rather than the coloured pencils, because you can use them with both. Here I've got two of the Spectrum Noir Sparkle Glitter brush pens. They're lovely to use, they're really nice, really fun. So I've got two collections of those, and then behind there you can just about see poking out, that is my Nuvo Aquaflow pens. This other tonic mug here has got a random assortment of other brush marker pens, and underneath that, the box that you can just about see, that is the complete collection of the Carin brush marker pens. So I have the 24 box. I started off with the 24 box in the sky colours of the Carin Brush Marker Pros, and I really liked them. So when the complete box came on offer, I decided to buy it. I think it was 50% off or something like that, so I bought it. Again, I'm very thrifty, and you know, I do like to just make good use of sales. So that is all of my colouring materials. So number 7 on the list is mediums, pastes, sequins and embellishments, including things like glitter, sequins, sprays, everything of that sort of ilk. So I bought myself another of the rolling trolleys from Hobbycraft. As you can tell, I really do quite like them. And Tonic were recently doing an offer on their storage solutions. So if you see the bottom shelf there, you can see one box but with lots of pots of glacier paste and glimmer paste, etc., and some gilding flakes, and underneath that is another one of the same box but which has got all of my large pots of embellishment mousse, crackle mousse, chalk mousse, etc. So I'll bring you a little bit closer to have a little Scooby at that. I've also got sprays next to it, so that's like Nouveau Sparkle sprays. And then behind there in some little storage containers are the Nouveau like glitter accents, so like highly glittered. They're kind of like Nouveau drops, but they've got much more glitter in. In the next shelf up, we have a new purchase right in front of me, which I've been wanting for a while. It's the finger daubers from Craft Stash. So these are the sponge finger daubers, which enable you to get into little tight spaces, which is what I really wanted it for. Sometimes with the best will in the world, you've masked it as an image as well as you can, but there's like a teeny little bit. So I think the triangular ones in particular will be really useful, and that was $14.99 including the case, which I thought was a really good deal. I've then got a number of these storage containers, but I used to store my mini ink pads in here. So obviously when I moved over to the wooden storage system, I've got all of these boxes, and I was like, oh okay, what can I use these for? And the small bottles of Nouveau sequins and confetti and glitter fit in them perfectly. So I store all of my glitter, all of my sequins and confetti in here. The box that you can see that says "Live the Life You Love," which is a lovely tin that I picked up in the charity shop, that actually houses all of my glitter. And then this quite large box is all full of Nouveau drops. So in here we've got the larger pots of Nouveau sequins and confetti, and we've got these little containers that were meant to hold sanitary towels, which have got sequins of brands that I don't know what brand they are. We've got these little Santoro gorgeous little mini flatback gems. I really love the colours in these. This holds my Trinity Stamps gems, which I've recently become addicted to, and I tend to use a lot when I'm staging my photos. I've got some more glitter, some more sequins. and stars and whatnot. And then I've also got my brayer and my embellishment medium tools, so palette knives and whatnot, and spatulas and blending things. So because this is the embellishments and mediums trolley, it seemed logical that they should live in here. And you can also see that I've used like the lid of a box to keep these kind of separate. So it's sort of like storage within storage. I picked that up from Marie Kondo's organising thing. I've got two more of the pots here. So I've got reindeer moss in here, and in the other one I've got spray bottles, because again sometimes I'll use water in techniques. And then if I move you around to the other side, again I purchased the extra storage options here, and I've got my mixed media mat and a huge roll of foam tape from the little paper tree. So there we go, that is my embellishments and the final things. So either like the messy things that you do during crafting or the final things that you do. So number 8 is the top drawer of my storage unit here, my chest of drawers, and the box on the right, the craft box, as in craft card, holds my Brother P-Touch label maker and spare tapes for it. And then next to that we've got my bright green crocodile in its lovely case with some brads. I've got my jelly plate there, and underneath some rocker blocks from Crafter's Companion. I've got a recent purchase down here, a Dymo label maker. I've seen other people use these in crafting and thought they give a really nice funky modern effect on cards. And when I was buying something, some storage from WH Smith's, my storage boxes that I'm planning on using for my dies, which is the next video, the Dymo label maker was like ridiculously cheap on offer, so I was like, right, I'll grab myself that while it's that price. And then I've got a empty biscuit tin. I think I was using that to store sweeties, in case I got a little bit peckish. It's empty at the moment, but my husband, bless him, has just been to the shops and bought me some little chews, little individually wrapped chews, so I think I might put them in the little Santa biscuit tin. And then next to that we've got underneath there is a rechargeable handy lamp, so if I need some more lighting on my desk, that's there. I can just plug it in, use it off the mains or charge it up. And then on top of it is the flower forming kit that I got from Tonic Studios. So this drawer, oh, there's also a couple of pens and some acetate boxes to store or send bigger cards. I've also got some paracetamol. What else is down there? Some of those command strips, command hooks, in case I wanted to stick anything on the wall. But this drawer was essentially too packed and heavy to even close, so I moved out, because I used it to store my different brands of like my Bristol board, like the smooth card, 300 GSM paper ream to make card blanks, tracing paper, stuff like that. It was just way too heavy, so now I've streamlined it and I'm really happy. It's just like, it makes complete sense. I've got all of my labelling things together. Underneath the labelling supplies I've got my pouches that I shared in the last video that I used to store my stamps and coordinating stamp and die sets, which I'll also be using for some of my smaller die sets in the next video, because I did buy like 200 I think, or 300 of them. So yep, that is that area. So the 8th reorganisational strategy that I want to share with you is this drawer unit. So you will have seen the other one. So I've got two exactly the same. The other one is full of cardstock that is unbranded, or not unbranded, cardstock that I bought when I was first starting out crafting. There was a bundle that I bought from eBay from a charity, but I don't know the brand of it. And now obviously I'm further on in my crafting career, I really need to know the brands of things. So I don't know if I don't know what brand something is, you know, I don't know whether to use it or whatnot. So I tend to just use those for bits of scraps and whatnot. But it's also got some patterned paper pads and vellum in there. So I didn't show you that bit, but it's not particularly interesting. But this one is, in this one, and again, these are from Hobbycraft. I really find Hobbycraft excellent for storage, to be honest. In this one, the drawers on the left, the top 3 or 4 drawers, are where I used to store my ink pads. So they would be very close at hand, so literally right next to my desk, because I need everything to be very close at hand, and that's where they were. But now I've moved them, so they're still close to me, but obviously I've got my new storage system. I have reorganised most of this. There's just 2 drawers that aren't labelled because I'm not quite sure what they're going to be used for yet. So on each end you'll notice there's a yellow bucket. These are my bins. So on the right hand side is non-recyclable materials, and on the left hand side is recyclable. I've got my 2 Tim Holtz tonic guillotines on there. I've also got a medium-sized electric die cutting machine, a Craftwell Snap, on there as well, which I tend to use a lot. It's a cute little machine. It's really good. But what I've done now is on the right hand side, the top purple drawer, that was always embossing powders and my embossing tool. And all I've done with that is, I used to have a small box with all of the embossing powders in, but now I've got more embossing powders. I've just put them into a larger box. I've also got my Versamark ink pads and my powder tool in there. In the bottom drawer we have masking and double-sided adhesive sheets and foam pads. So that's pretty self-explanatory. In the drawers on the left, so the top 3 are all white cardstock. So because one of my main passions is stamping and colouring, I need good quality cardstock. So I've got the top one is Nina Classic Crest Solar White, £80. I got that from the Little Paper Tree. In the second drawer down is the same cardstock but from Crafter's Companion, because I didn't know you could actually get Nina cardstock in the UK, but you can get it from Crafter's Companion. It's called Nina, but it's labelled as Crafter's Companion Nina. So I've got quite a few packs of that in there. The third drawer down is Copic Express It marker paper. So I managed to get that when it was on offer, and I just really wanted to try it out to see how it compared, because obviously I usually use the Crafter's Companion Nina and then the regular Nina when it was on offer. So I just wanted to see how it compared. The next drawer down is currently just got a few bits and pieces in which I need to sort out, but the second to last is cleaning supplies. So I've got baby wipes, which I use for cleaning stamps, but I'm really trying to move away from using baby wipes. So I've also got like microfiber cloths. I've got some different brands of stamp cleaner, and I've got some one of those Nouveau tonic Nouveau stamp chamois. I think I've got a couple actually. I've got one somewhere else random that I've put somewhere safe and I've lost it. Do you do that too? And then the bottom drawer is poly bags. So that is the bags that I'll put my completed cards into before I then rehome them into the box of completed cards, which I'll then save until I need a card, or someone else needs a card, or there's a charity and I can donate some. But yeah, so that is that, and that setup is working really well for me. So number 9 is some storage options that I've recently bought from Tonic Studios. So these are, the one on the left is called Palermo. Here's the box, Palermo. So you can decorate it with your patterned papers and paint it and whatever you want. And the one on the right is called Rimini. So I've actually got 2 of the Riminis, and you can actually stack them on top of each other. So if you don't add that fancy bit on the top, you can stack another one on top of it. So it's taller, but I want one for on my work desk, which is the other side of my room. So directly behind me is my sort of home office area. But this is what they look like. They're nice and sturdy. They're really easy to assemble. You do need to use some glue, but I just used some Nouveau Deluxe adhesive. And they're a nice decent size, and they come with cardboard drawers and like backing and decorative plates. So I'm assuming that you decorate these with your patterned paper and then assemble them. So that's like a nice little project, or several little projects. So that's going to enable me to store lots of other little bits and pieces. So although I haven't exactly figured out what I want to put in there and where I want them yet, I will have by the final tour, so the video in video 5. Just wanted to show you the size of them and how nice and sturdy they are. So that one is that, and now we're moving on to the last one, which is stencils. Number 10 is stencils. So the final section, number 10, stencils. On the left hand side, so we've got this aqua coloured folder which is bursting at the seams with stencils. We've got 2 very large 10-inch square stencils which are gorgeous, and a big stack of Leone Pujol stencils and masks. And then also I've got quite a few Crafter's Companion layering stencils because I love anything that layers. So I have a lot of stencils, and everything, all of these apart from these which were too large, was being kept in a magazine file holder. But what I've decided to do is to go through and purge everything that I'm not going to use and put them all into this blue lever arch folder. So I picked up some dividers. So I've got, I think it's 5 tabs, and then I picked up some really good quality punched pockets. And I got both of these from the same place that I got the stamp and die storage pockets, the Q-Connect ones. So what I'm going to do now is turn the camera off, go through, purge everything that I know I'm not going to use, and then come back and show you my new storage system. And it's got its own little place already, just there on that bottom shelf next to the toilet roll and the life-giving water bottle to keep my little plant friends alive. So I'll see you back in a mo. Okay, so that whole experience was really interesting. I did not realise how many stencils I actually had. This lever arch file is absolutely jam-packed. So, and if you're following along with me, you might be noticing this too. It's just like discovering things that you completely forgot that you had. It's just a really fascinating process. So I have actually got rid of like a big chunk of stencils. So I've actually gone through and organised all my stencils into the following categories. So we've got scene building, patterns and backgrounds, miscellaneous, layering, and words and letters, and that fits really well for me. I haven't got that many miscellaneous, to be honest. And that's going to work just perfect for me. So just to give you a little preview of the next video, the die storage, I've cleared off my notice board because I'm going to stick magnetic sheets on there and use that to store some dies on. So I hope you'll join me. Click the notification bell and subscribe so you know when the next video is released. And I'll put a playlist here of the current videos in this series that have already been released, and if you've seen both of those, I'll put another little playlist up there of quick watch videos for you to watch. So I look forward to seeing you all on the next stage of my journey. Please feel free to leave me any comments or questions or anything that you'd like in the comment section below, and I'll see and speak to you soon with some more crafty goodness, inspiration and organisational tips. Bye for now.